And I'm CEO and co-founder of Arrivo. I'm an engineer by trade, started in the automotive industry at Chrysler, was in aerospace, military side of aerospace, and later was a very early employee at SpaceX. I was there back in 2003 and stayed there for almost 10 years, helping build a spaceship, deliver cargo to the space station, return to Earth. Now I got in the Hyperloop game a little bit, and I want to talk to you guys about what the future could hold about getting people to their planes. And really what it's going to mean for you. That's what's more important about this. At Arrivo, we have a new take on this 21st century technology, and as we like to say around the office at Arrivo, if you want to travel very quickly in a low pressure environment inside a metal tube, I'd recommend an airplane. The ride is smooth and the orange juice is free, except you're on Ryanair perhaps. But of course, aviation travel is fantastic. It's smooth, it's efficient, it's getting even more comfortable for passengers. The problem is never getting from city A to city B. The problem is always getting to the airport. Perhaps they position this conference in Sydney just to give us all a personal taste of what they're dealing with right now. But there's another problem that has traffic problems. There's another city that has traffic problems getting people to and from the airport, and that's called pretty much every city in the world. It's also not going to get any better. We all know that building more roads doesn't solve the problem. Populations are urbanizing. Getting people to the airport is becoming a problem for airline operators, I would posit. Certainly you have your transit time that you know you have. You have to block in extra buffer time, of course. There's probably much more traffic even directly around the airport, let alone security and additional buffers. So all of these are really delivering passengers that are already travel weary before they get on your airplanes, and they've already had a lot of value extracted out of them. So maybe there's a 21st century solution that could take an existing region and really unlock immediate mainline access to the airport. So there might be a few ways to do this. You could think about a network of underground tunnels. You could maybe try to build more roads, but I'm going to tell you about a solution that I think we have. Here we're looking at a congested roadway. Really not many more vehicles can fit along this road, but I think one of the solutions is right in front of us. We don't use the infrastructure that we have. Even on a congested road, only 15% of the actual road surface is being used. This gets a lot worse. This is in Dubai. There's a light rail corridor. There's 2 trains coming by. I bet they waited all day to get that photo. Light rail corridors are only utilized 1% of the time. So what happened is we have these transportation corridors that we aren't using effectively, and it means congested traffic, it means regional problems. So at Arrivo, we're developing tech to create high throughput fairways. So to put a number to that, a road can usually move about 2,000 vehicles per lane per hour. We're creating technology that can move 20,000 vehicles per lane per hour with many passengers in those vehicles, of course. Of course, we want to be 100% safe. To get that high throughput, it's a function of vehicle speed and the headway, how close they are together. So the innovation we've come up with is to move the roadway itself instead of move the vehicles. So you can imagine for dense urban areas creating a high throughput lane where you now have an electromagnetic highway, so you now have a 100% safe way of moving these vehicles because they actually can't hit each other, let alone it's naturally energy efficient, and now you get a high throughput thoroughfare which can mainline regional traffic. This is a little bit more clear of what it could look like. You see we put down a dedicated roadway, and on that we put down electromagnetic coils with integrated power electronics, sensors, telemetry, and edge computing. And we do put an enclosure around it, but it's not a vacuum. Arrivo is a commercial service, and we think that creating an ambient pressure, high throughput lane is going to be much safer than anything else you can do. Of course, we can deploy this technology in tunnels or above grade, but we think we could do it right on existing roadways. Again, Arrivo is trying to be a commercial service and deliver massive high throughput value. So the idea is you could put down an Arrivo lane right on an existing thoroughfare and get effectively 10 lanes for 1. This could mean, again, mainlining regional transportation. One of the ways to take advantage of this high throughput is to have multiple products that run on the same infrastructure platform. So here we're showing the vehicle on your left. You could imagine driving an existing car and getting onto it. But of course we have a package delivery vehicle and a metro transit style vehicle. All of these share the same chassis, share the same infrastructure. Also, they're all multimodal. Certainly in the near term, you can operate a metro or a package delivery vehicle being multimodal by putting a driver in it. As level 5 autonomy comes online, you can imagine sort of the vehicle on the far right, where you now have a full autonomous Lyft or Uber, delivers you full door-to-door. A couple of advantages we have here is we can really drive the cost of the vehicle down. Again, the onboard power plant is effectively a golf cart, and you can move very high speed in the system, and then also completely multimodal for off-alignment pickups. You can do all kinds of really interesting things, like integrate naturally with the fabric of a city. So instead of having only metro alignments pick up in dedicated regions, now you can go very quickly in the alignment, go off-alignment, pick up in a city, deliver people directly from the airport to other things. It's that connection of getting from an airport to the city is really the problem. I think we have a little video that sort of shows an idea. Well, it's not running, but anyways, the idea is that we're running a high throughput lane. I want to say we're talking about speeds of 100, 150 miles an hour, not 700. Certainly we believe that if you can get from wherever you are to the airport in 9 minutes for $3, you probably don't want to pay $30 to get there in 7 minutes. But we're not the operators. Arrivo is the technology provider, and we're going to leave it up to the local regional operators to decide how to best operate their systems. But we certainly imagine 100, 150 miles an hour is going to be a great application to unlock regional congestion, unlock mobility for a whole region. Here's an example of a network that we actually are looking at. I showed this earlier. This is the Denver region. We are doing a pre-feasibility study right now. A couple things here. Building out these regional networks is key. For a sense of scale, that's about 80 kilometers from top to bottom, maybe 60 kilometers from east to west. So a fully networked system, the first patent we filed was on our switching technology, so every node goes directly to every other node without stopping, again, unlike a metro system where you stop in places you don't want to. So you really unlock regional mobility, decrease congestion, and we want to, again, increase more mobility, especially in an area like Denver. They're expecting a 40% population increase in that region. So now you've got, again, this opportunity to mainline to the airport. And what does it mean for operators? Well, I know the theme is future-proofing the industry, but future-proofing sounds like you're building a moat to defend against technology. What I think you should do is build a bridge and connect to future technology. So you want to future engage with technology. Here's a quick example of Arrivo running on a bridge. We probably won't do that in the near term, but nonetheless, again, we can sort of deploy this to unlock regional mobility. And here's something to think about for airline operators. As I said, Arrivo doesn't plan on operating the system itself. Well, airlines are the world's greatest transportation and mobility operators, bar none. You just happen to be in a position where you're fed passengers that you can't control the whole experience. I know a lot of people in this room are already looking to broaden their experience. Think about operating the ground level transportation as well. Not only do you get to control that customer experience, but you also get the additional data layer that comes with that. And really understanding the way passengers move is going to really be where the value comes in the long term. And then you can think about new products and services that can be offered. What about a distributed check-in? So here you've got an Arrivo terminal or a Qantas terminal at the local downtown mall, maybe at the other mobility center. This one's kind of showing it in Penn Station. You can check in, you can do security here because we're an enclosed system. You can get delivered directly behind lines. You can get delivered directly to the airport. You can get delivered directly to the terminal. You can get delivered directly to your gate. Think about in the future, even delivering people in boarding order. That's maybe a longer term scoop. Obviously, serial boarding of hundreds of passengers is always going to be the limiter, but I can't fix that. So there's new opportunities. You can even think broader than that. Now, how do we build airports out? Think about distributed terminals. Airlines suffer from curfew restrictions, from runway restrictions. If you could really distributize the airport and still have easy access, it starts to get exciting. If you could maybe distributize airports completely. Effective ground transportation can deliver more people to the airports. Airports are fantastic. They scale infinitely. The same airport right here connects me to Los Angeles and some people to Singapore and some people to London. That kind of scaling cannot be matched. So the problem is really unlocking surface transportation to get people there. So the question that I like to ask everyone that comes to work for me, and I think we could all ask ourselves, is not how do we engage with the technology or how do we future-proof, but really what should the future look like? I'm not saying it should look like that. That's a stock image. But that's a broad question. If we have unlimited surface transportation, what could the future look like? And I think it's going to unlock a question that we pre-answer no to all the time, which is, can I go to Melbourne tonight and meet my friend for dinner and still get home tonight so I can take my kid to school in the morning? The question isn't, can I do it? You pre-answer no because you're expecting long delays at the airport, getting from the airport to your final destination. If you could integrate airports to the surface of the fabric of the city with surface transport, then you unlock, and now that question is, should I take this flight tonight? The answer is going to be yes. So hopefully we build a great future together. Thank you.